Well, we're get into our dailies
Of course.
for today, and we have quite a few stories to bring you. Now, on the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have Obuasi Sectec wins 2024 STEM Innovation Contest. We also have here Tame Greed, Stop Galamsey, Central Regional Minister speaking there. And abysmal Black Stars need rescue after 42-year trophy drought. Now, I want to comment so badly on that, but yeah, I'll leave that to later. Multi-pronged strategy required to address declining oil production. This is coming from PIAC. And finally, Reverend Opuni Frimpong entreats chiefs to contribute towards peaceful elections.
Right, Kweku, on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, I have DVLA opens new Accra regional office, and also Nana endorses Baumia. That's a big story on the front page of the Daily Guide. And East Legon crash, we allowed our son to drive, and that's from Salifu Amwakon, the father of the suspect. And also Napo addresses Memphis varsity. Samira woos Asante Achim North voters. That's what I have on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper this morning.
All right, let's take a look at the Chronicle. Chronicle says Michael Quay faults attempt to remove MPs from Parliament. Okay. Togbe Bagbin to decide fate of 4 MPs. And we have thumbs up for Frema Osei Opare as market traders hail her philanthropic gestures. And the scripture for today on the Chronicle, it says, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that will he also reap. Yeah. If you sow it, you will reap it. I think I know who Chronicle is shading. I'll leave it for our viewers to decide for themselves who Chronicle is trying to shade. Yeah, that's it for the Chronicle.
The Daybreak newspaper says top CEO's wife slaps side chick, and also Napo apologizes to bondholders for impact of DDEP, and ICC relations with the African continent stabilize, and that's by Karim Khan. And forestry guards fingered in illegal lumber trade.
I have a business analyst next, and it says SNIT focused on improving returns. Director General of SNIT speaking. We have Sunona Sogli shuts down 560 megawatt power plant over $259 million debt. Now, 560 megawatts is a whole lot of power. You know, that's like, like maybe one third of the nation's supply of power. That's a lot of power to be shut down. So it means that if we're not careful, there'll be trouble in the coming days. ADB recovers over 500 million Ghana cedis MPLs in 9 months as bank's risk management practice improves. Okay, that's a good story there. Fitch assigns Ghana's new dollar bonds at CCC plus. Okay, and finally we have here on the business analyst, GRA property rate, whole assembly members call for probe. So that's what we have for the business analyst.
Right, Kweku, the New Republic, it says High Court halts ballot printing amidst Mona's legal battle, and that story can be seen on page 3 of the New Republic. Mahama gallops ahead in polls, leaving Baumia behind in NPP's race. That story is also on page 5 of the New Republic newspaper. Memoir of fake coup pilot, former ACP Benjamin Agodo exposes despotic regime, and also SNIT premier crumbling, deterioration reveals pension fund oversight failure, and that's on page 13 of the New Republic newspaper.
Yeah, interesting stories and interesting times. The Political Digest is my final paper here. It says, Napo leads girl-child education crusade. We have voting against MPP will be a huge mistake. This is coming from free SHS beneficiaries. Baumia best to succeed me, says Nana. And we have Baumia, remarkable example of decency. It's coming from Prof. Sikanku. All right, there's a few headlines at the back on the back page of the Chronicle as well as the Daily Graphic. Let me just bring them to you. It's this one. You know there's a new football manager for England, right? England's football team,
right?
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel, and he's German, right? And so he's apologizing to the English fans who are critics. He says, "Sorry, I have a German passport, but I got a job." And the GFA, George Friye tells GFA, "Don't sack Otoado." Okay. And then on the back page of the Daily Graphic, we have here, nation makes progress in malaria elimination. That's a good story. I'd like to get into some details there. But let's do some online stories.
Of course, Kweku. So I'm taking us to the ChannelOneNews.com as fire kills 147 people after fuel tanker explosion in Nigeria. That's a sad one. Some Galamsey story says 5 arrested, 40 Changfans burnt by GNASSM Taskforce on Birim River. Sunun Asogli shut down could trigger doomsaw, and that's by the IES. 1 military officer dead, 5 others critically injured in ghastly accident. And also EC disqualifies NDC's Joanna Kujo from 2024 Memphis Central Parliamentary race. And also from the East Legon accidents that happened over the last weekend, Bishop Salifu Amwako's sons and Bishop Salifu Amwako's son's mother granted 50,000 Ghana cedis bail. And on some election 2024 stories, debate Baumia stopped running away Akufo-Addo to Mahama. Haruna Ijusu's motion for removal of MP's Bazaar, a shocking frolic, and that's by Ras Mubarak. And also, Sunon Asogli shuts down power plant over $259 million debt. Running on EC's disqualification of Bernard Mona adjourned to October 21st. And also, Professor Kwe slams minority for demanding removal of 4 MPs. So, Kweku, there are more stories on ChannelOneNews.com that they can check out.
Yeah, and we also have CityNewsroom.com. Police on manhunt for 3 Imprayeso SHS students over alleged gang rape. That's a very serious thing, and I'm sure the police are on top of it. Okay, let's. I'll get into that story shortly. Let me just give you a few more headlines on Channel One. CityNewsroom.com. We have other stories here. Proposed PURC Energy Commission merger will respect the views of stakeholders. This is coming from Herbert Crapper. Dry spell affected farmers to receive 1,000 Ghana cedis each, not 3,000 Ghana cedis. Brian Achampon clarifies. And again, Sunon Asogli shutdown may force Ghana to import more power. And as I was saying, this is a very dire situation because 560 megawatts is a whole lot of power, you know, that we're going to be short of. Anyway, let me just get into the story on the police manhunt for 3 Imprayeso SHS students for alleged gang rape. The Kwewu Nkwetia Divisional Police Command is actively searching for 3 male students from Imprayeso Senior High School in the Kwewu South Municipality who allegedly raped a female student on Sunday, October 13th. Now, these 3 students are among a group of 8 reportedly involved in the incident. The police are set to arraign the 5 detained suspects while efforts continue to apprehend the 3 remaining who are currently at large. The victim has received medical treatment and was discharged from the hospital and is currently undergoing counseling, while the school's management has assured the police of their full support and cooperation in the investigation and has stated that the situation is under control. Now, this is it's not the first time. It's a very harrowing story. I really my heart goes out to the victim as well as her family. Okay, I think it's dastardly, you know, and that all the 8 involved should be given the harshest of punishments that are available per our laws. It's completely unacceptable, completely, you know. And for you to sit there and think that it's okay to plan, then you plan it and then you
Actually
execute
it,
and
yeah.
not at any point in time that any of the 8 feel that I want to pull out of this situation and I cannot be part of this. You all went through with it. May the Lord catch up with all of you, each of you, and deal with you as you deserve.
Okay, cool. I don't know what
Yeah.
our senior high schools are turning into lately, or what our youth or the children we are bringing up are turning into lately, but it's becoming scary. If these are the people that are going to be the future leaders of tomorrow, it's really, really scary. There should be some form of strict disciplinary measures in our senior high schools to curb some of these things, because I really do not know
I think
how
the
to
best,
feel about it.
I think the best signal to senior high school students is proper prosecution, all the way to the end, and harsh punishments.
Well,
You
it's-
know,
it-
yeah,
it
because it's a
actually
criminal
serves them.
case now.
Yes, it serves
You see,
them right.
this is no longer an issue that can be dealt with by the school. It's a criminal situation now, and the state will deal with them. You know, yeah. Do you have any stories?
Quick, of
there? I have a
course.
couple
So there was a story on ChannelOneNews.com
Okay.
about fire killing 147 people after
Nigeria?
yes, a tanker explosion in
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Go ahead.
So let me just take us
Yeah.
through the story. A Ford tanker exploded overnight in northern Nigeria, killing at least 147 people who rushed to the scene of the accident to collect leaking petrol, officials say. The fire engulfed the overturned vehicle, which had been cordoned off by officers after it crashed, the police told the BBC. About 100 other people injured in the explosion have been taken to the hospital in the nearby town of Ringim in Jigawa State. Many of them are in critical condition. Officers had warned people not to approach the tanker after the accident late on Tuesday night, but they were unable to contain the growing crowd, said police spokesman Lawal Sishu Adam. We tried our best to stop people going to the vehicle to get petrol, but despite condoning off the area, we were overpowered as people were scooping fuel, fire erupted, he told the BBC. The crash happened in the town of Majia in northern state of Jigawa around 23:30 local time, he said. The fuel tanker was coming from Kano and heading to Nguru in Yobo State when the driver lost control of the vehicle. The driver, who was not just injured, has been taken into custody while the police conduct an investigation. A distressing video has been shared on social media showing the moments after the fire erupted. Fire service and other emergency units rushed to the scene to help after the accident, Mr. Adams said. Many of the victims have been burnt beyond recognition. The recovered bodies have been covered by tree branches to shield them from onlookers. Rescue workers have been finding more bodies, some a considerable distance from the scene of the accident. They had presumably been trying to get help before succumbing to their injuries, a police spokesman told the BBC. Most of those who died have been buried in a mass ceremony. The four tanker explosions and accidents are common in Nigeria, often caused by the poor state of the roads and badly maintained vehicles. As the clear-up operation was underway in Jigawa, there was another four-tanker accident in southwestern Ogun State in the town of Ibafo. So that's the story. There's more, but it's
just
sad.
this week, I was sitting here with Chris, and I was explaining to her how that knowledge and understanding are two different things, and how that, and I used the example I used was actually a fuel tank. You know, that you know, turns over, has an accident, is leaking fuel, and then people have seen this.
Yeah.
People have seen previous accidents.
Yeah.
People have seen previous accidents where there's been explosions and been fires. So what? Guess what? They have knowledge. but understanding that it could happen to you,
me, yes.
and the fact that the fire hasn't started doesn't mean that it's not going to start in the next few seconds. The fact that the fire hasn't started doesn't mean that it's not going to engulf you, the explosion is not going to take place, right? Understanding that this is what happens potentially with every accident where there's heavy fuel, okay, it's going to happen. And then literally less than 48 hours later, this thing happens in Nigeria.
Yeah. And Kweko, it's not just fuel tankers that these accidents happen to. Sometime 2 weeks ago or so, we saw an accident on the Anya Road where a car carrying soft drinks had overturned and people were looting.
Yeah.
We see these things all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like, as you rightly said, well, maybe it is it is not ignorance at this point, because they know that there's a possibility that this could happen, yet they still risk their life. What could the problem be? Is it poverty? Is it hunger? What is wrong with you people?
It's greed.
What is wrong with you people?
It's greed. It's greed, and it's you see, you can every situation like this is easy to say, oh, it's poverty, but really, what is it? It's ask yourself, the fuel that you're going to scoop and you're going to sell for what? Really, because nobody is coming to your tabletop to come and buy fuel, that we are even suspicious of. So how much really are you going to get for that fuel? You see, so I don't know, it beats my imagination, and we need to, first of all, and this is happening in Nigeria, but it also happens in Ghana, and we've had this happen in Ghana as well. We need to do better as leaders of the nation, where, for example, our first responders are quick to scenes, because they are all over the place. We need to spread out our first responders in such a way that they're all over the place. But of course, if it's happening on a highway somewhere, that's also a difficult situation. So what can the state really do in that regard? So people also need to take personal responsibility and understand that if you get caught up in such a situation, it's you did it. You did it to yourself. There's a story on the back page of the Daily Graphic I want us to get into briefly. Nation makes progress in malaria elimination. I think it's a good story. Let's see what they're saying. The country has made significant progress in the fight against malaria, the Ghana Health Service has said. Now, it said deaths due to malaria reduced from 2,799 in 2012 to 146 in 2023. Whoa, that's massive improvement. In what? About 10, 11 years? Okay. While malaria prevalence had also declined from 27% in 2011 to 8% in 2022, reflecting the effectiveness of prevention measures. This is a really good story. Malaria testing rate, it added, had also significantly increased from 38% in 2012 to 98% in 2023, thereby enabling early diagnosis and treatment. All right, so that's a fantastic story. The story is on the back page. There's more that it says, but I love the story all in all.
Kweko, there's another disturbing story on ChannelOneNews.com.
Okay.
Police arrest man for assaulting his 20-year-old daughter. The Ghana Police Service has arrested suspect Nana Amo Abraham for causing harm to his 20-year-old daughter at Chifopraso in the Central Region. The suspect, according to police investigations, physically assaulted his daughter following a disagreement and inflicted bodily harm on her. He is currently in custody and assisting the investigation and will be put before court. Meanwhile, the police have made arrangements for the victim to be brought to the police hospital in Accra for further medical care. Other disturbing one. I don't know for what reason you would want to inflict bodily harm on your own child. Your own child for whatever crime she may have committed. Why would you want to do that?
I think that all of these things speak to the stresses in the system. They speak to the way we also socialize people. And some people feel that it's okay to do this, to have this kind of behavior. So it's two different things that we're looking at. One is does the person feel it's okay to behave like this? And then the other issue is the issue of anger management, the stresses in the system, and so on and so forth. I want to do one more before we go for sports.
That's okay.
Galamsey, 5 arrested, 40 Changfans burned by the GNASSM. Should I pronounce it GNASSM Taskforce on the Birim River? Of course, these are the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. So the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners Task Force has arrested 5 persons for mining in the Birim River at Mampong in the Etiwa East District of the Eastern Region. Now, the task force also set ablaze 40 Changfans and confiscated 2 newly built Changfans which were just about to be deployed into the Birim River by Galamseyers. Now, the suspects are part of numerous recalcitrant illegal miners who returned to the site to continue their illegalities a few days after the military visited the area to burn several Changfans. Now, 2 of them were arrested right in the middle of the river when the task force surrounded them while they were busily mining with their Changfans. Now, when the task force was moving out of the site, they chanced on a truck conveying 2 newly built Changfans being transported to the same site. 2 occupants of the truck took to their heels upon seeing the task force, but were given a hot chase by the task force and were subsequently arrested. Now, the last person identified as Nana Kojo Ehimado, who appeared claiming ownership of the Changfans and tried to prevent the task force from towing the truck with the Changfans, was then arrested. The suspects, who were taken to the Chebi District Police Command, are currently in custody and are expected to be arraigned before court. Meanwhile, the truck with the newly built Changfans has also been handed over to the police to aid their investigations. Mr. Thomas Labi, the treasurer of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, who led Wednesday's operation confirming the arrest to ChannelOne News, affirmed his association's commitment to deal with illegal miners polluting water bodies in the country. All right, this is very positive news here, seeing that we are aggressively taking the position of standing against all forms of irresponsible mining. And the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners have said that for them, they are mining responsibly and they are not willing to have their business curtailed. And so they're going to help in the fight against those who are being irresponsible and mining in our water bodies. So I think it's a fantastic.
Yes, I like that. I mean, this is all that we've been looking for: responsible mining to save our water bodies. I mean, mining has been going on for God knows how long. We've not had these terrible issues of our water bodies being murky, being polluted, and our forest reserves being destroyed. So if we can still mine responsibly and have our water bodies safe, have our forest reserves safe, I mean, that is all that we are looking out for. So it's a step in the right direction, if you ask me.
Fantastic. Well, sports is next. Don't go anywhere.